So climate change is a huge thing people are super duper genuinely concerned about. One of the leading people who spends an inordinate amount of time lecturing you and I about how we don't take climate change seriously enough. Only goes on holiday in his mega yacht that burns more fossil fuels in a day than my car does in a year every other week. So he's doing his part. What are you doing, you bigot? Yeah, I didn't think so. And climate change has gotten so bad that whales are coming out of the sea to board private jets so they can preach about how that car of yours is killing the earth. But a private jet flying overweight by 27 tons, burning thousands of gallons of fuel, that doesn't count, bruh. In fact, you should be eating bugs to offset it. Now, anyone normal knows this is a scam for money because a lot of people can remember the world's going to end if you don't give us money to save the environment rhetoric going back to the 70s. It's always 10 years, and when you can remember them saying this 20 years ago, doesn't really have the same impact. Sure, we have actual serious problems with the environment, but it's nothing you or I can have any effect on when corporations use countries that don't care about pollution like India and China to make their products cheaply for maximum profit. But of course, that's never part of the conversation, is it? It's all directed at you and how you can buy more things and consume things made in those countries to solve the problem. It's a very obvious grift to a normal person. Unfortunately, a lot of people are remarkably stupid. I mean, they think a child with learning difficulties is an expert on the climate. These people are almost entirely on one side of a political spectrum, an extremely gullible spectrum, who have no ability to think for themselves, and while they call people on the right who support people like Donald Trump being in a cult, they really do display genuine signs of being in a brainwashed cult. One of the leading things cults do is use coercive and deceptive methods to bond the group together, which you can see with the outrage they managed to create with Florida's Don't Say Gay bill, a bill actually about parental rights and education. I didn't say anything about banning the word gay, but there were people within the group who knew they were lying, and a group of malleable NPCs who can't think for themselves and do as they are told, but they are all driven by the same goal: to belong and to think you're in the right and the rest of the world is wrong. The line doesn't matter, the end justifies the means, i.e. cult behavior. And another type of cult is the doomsday cult, which is what the climate change movement is. Companies might think it's a funny grift to sell you LED light bulbs and sustainable nonsense that's way lower quality than what they used to sell at a higher price. But people are really, really dumb, and they don't realize they're watching an advert and believe everything they're told. And one person who bought into this a bit too much was a man called Wynn Bruce, who went to the United States Supreme Court building and set himself on fire to raise awareness of climate change. And it was on Earth Day, whatever that is. I assume some grifting day to sell commemorative things to make money. I'm sorry, leftists, but this is what people in a cult do. This is what stupid people in a cult do when they've been bombarded with advertising telling them the world is going to end. No one should be doing insane things like this because the government and corporations have told them they're to blame for the world being in a mess, when it's actually the other way around. This is what inflammatory language and rhetoric does to the dumbest people in society. Of course, this got no media coverage at all because all the media companies and corporations saw it and thought, welp, you were only supposed to buy our new sustainable backpacks made out of lentils. Guess the advert worked a little bit too well with this one, and ignored it because, you know, when people start truly believing the doomsday nonsense they spout, that's bad for business. How is this guy going to be able to buy their $50 bowls made out of scooped up coconuts now? And in a final insult to this deranged man, a man who believes so much in climate change he wanted to set himself on fire and release CO2 into the atmosphere, he got airlifted to hospital in a helicopter. So I guess he made as much sense and had as large a carbon footprint as all the climate hypocrites who fly in private jets in the end then. A fellow lunatic, a friend of his, said of his death, "This guy was my friend. He meditated with our Sangha," which is a Buddhist community. This act is not suicide. This is a deeply fearless act of compassion to bring attention to the climate crisis. We are piecing together info, but he had been planning it for at least 1 year. Well, with friends like that, who needs enemies, eh? They knew he was going to kill himself, and instead of getting a clearly mentally unwell man help, they approved of this and encouraged it. And they will say it's not a cult. One of the main things is people don't even realize they're in a cult. They don't know they are praying to a fake god because they're indoctrinated. So a sad tale of advertising working that little bit too well. The climate change ad will be here in 10 years, and it will still be 10 years until the world ends. It's a never-ending cycle. Don't get too caught up in it like this guy did. That's it for today's video. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe to see more content like this. Boy.